The Dawning is a celebration of the holiday season in Destiny. This year we didn't get a new lore book or anything huge, which is okay, but we did get some heartwarming stories if you follow the tales given in the new quests. So today we're going to tell these tales of the Dawning and celebrate the achievements we've accomplished over the last year. So grab your favorite festive drink, cozy up near the fire, and let's begin. So the Dawning had two quests this year, the Rite of Dawning and the Pigeon Provides. The first one involves Caiatl and the Cabal traditions for their time near the holidays, and the other involves Saint 14 and his relationship with the Eliksni, baking cookies for them. Let's first start with Rite of Dawning. The story begins when you first visit Eva and pick up your holiday oven for this year of 2021. With this oven, we can bake tasty treats and cookies for those around the system, and they'll give us some gifts in return. Commander Zavala raises an eyebrow as you explain Eva's plan. Frankly, Eva may have a point, he says. We could welcome Caiatl to the tower and celebrate the Dawning here, with all of us. He stops briefly to watch two guardians near the postmaster. They pelt one another with snowballs before launching themselves over the railing and falling to their deaths. Their ghosts patiently resurrect them where they stood. The guardians laugh and break briefly into a dance before charging off toward the crucible. On the other hand, our Dawning traditions may be strange to an outsider, Zavala muses. He claps his hands. Very well, let's do something for the Empress. The Cabal homeworld was ravaged by the Hive, but perhaps we can bring some of its magic back to them this year. Head down to the EDZ and see if you can find some intel on Cabal celebrations. I'd ask Caiatl personally, but he smiles. Wouldn't it be better if it was a surprise? With this info, we would head to the European Dead Zone and find a Cabal datapad near Firebase Hades. With the secret Cabal intel, we venture even further to find a ceremonial cup in a nearby lost sector. With the Tor Battle ceremonial cup, we speak to Drifter for some assistance. The Drifter squints at you suspiciously. Ceremonial wine? He asks through a mouthful of chocolate. The only thing I got like that around here is this old bottle of engine cleaner. He rummages on a nearby shelf for a cloudy bottle of thick liquid. He examines it more closely, rubbing dust off the side with his thumb, revealing Cabal language hidden under the grime. Well, I'll be damned. He holds the bottle up to the light. Is it supposed to be all chunky like this? Drifter shrugs and hands you the bottle. All yours, kid, Drifter grins. Just make sure to mention to Zavala how gracious I was. He winks and then laughs to himself. You know, I was just telling Tess and Eva at Mahjong last week, this Dawning I want Zavala to owe me a favor, and wouldn't you look at this? He breaks into a wide reptilian smile. It's a Dawning miracle. You've amassed quite a collection of Cabal artifacts, Zavala says as he admires the vestments, cup, and wine. These will surely remind Caiatl of the traditions she left behind when she came here. But there is one final step I'd like to ask you. In Cabal culture, gifts are most meaningful if the giver has overcome great hardship to deliver them. I'd like Caiatl to know how much we value her as an ally. Zavala levels a look at you. He almost sounds guilty when he speaks. I must ask you to enter Caiatl's land tank and defeat her champion Ignovin in the Rite of Proving. Leave the ceremonial objects behind when you leave. Caiatl will understand their significance. Zavala places a hand on your shoulder. Thank you for this, Guardian. I know it is not easy, but you'll be showing someone how important she is by respecting her traditions this Dawning, and that's a great kindness. Now get out there and go kill Ignovin. So after we go into the Proving Grounds, take out the strike boss, and then return to Zavala, here's what he has to say. The commander greets you with an uncharacteristic smile. I just received a message from Caiatl, he says. She received the gifts you brought her. She said that, in the old times, the vestments were worn over battle-scarred armor. The wine was justly taken from those defending it, and the humble cup reminded those gathered that opulence was no better than moderation. It was a tradition her father did not practice, but one carried out by the elders she respected. Zavala's eyes soften. Thanks to you, she was able to perform that ritual with those close to her. You honored her, and our alliance is stronger for it. You did a wonderful thing this dawning, Guardian, he says. You should have the pleasure of telling Eva that her plan was a success. Eva listens to your story of bringing dawning cheer to Caiatl's Cabal. Though she doesn't quite agree with the rampant bloodshed, she understands the importance of respecting tradition, and she admits that she has gone to similar lengths to bring cookies to those who truly deserve them. She looks over towards Zavala, sees his smile, and thanks you dearly. Then she sits back down and returns to what she'd been busy doing, knitting an absolutely massive pair of dawning booties. So a pretty nice story there about Caiatl and the Cabal traditions in their dawning here at the tower. We now move on to Saint 14 and his cookie baking for the Eliksni. Eva Levante turns to greet you when you arrive, but her eyes do not have their usual twinkle. Hello, Guardian, she says. If you've come here looking for someone to fill you with dawning cheer, she sighs. You've come to the wrong place. Because, my dear, old Eva is no longer the kindest person in the tower. I believe that title now belongs to Saint 14. Listen, she insists. He told me what he plans to do this dawning, and when he did, my heart melted. Please go to him, have him tell you what he intends to do, and then, I beg you, help him achieve it. She pulls at the edge of her scarf. This last year was difficult for all of us, but especially Saint, with Osiris being... with what happened with Osiris and all. This is the kind of thing that can break a man, you know, she says softly. But Saint, that man's heart is so big. Eva covers her eyes with her hand. You give her a reassuring touch on the arm and leave her to herself. Guardian, just who I wanted to see. Saint 14's voice is bright and he spreads his arms wide when he sees you. I have had a wondrous idea for the dawning, he says proudly. The Eliksni of the House of Light, they live alongside us now, yes? But still, in many ways, they are outsiders. He leans close to you. This dawning, we change that. I remember how I felt welcome when I first came to the tower and Guardians brought me lavender cookies. So I think, let us help the Eliksni to feel the same way. There is one problem, he says, scratching at the dent in his helmet. What is lovely cookie to us may be terrible gift for them. They have been polite enough. I want to give them true Eliksni delights for dawning. But worry not, he says with a smile, for I have heard of a database they left when they fled Europa. And in that data, he nudges you. Recipe, he shouts before you can answer. Now go, he says, pushing you back with such enthusiasm you nearly stumble. Find this recipe and let us spread dawning cheers all over our Eliksni friends. So much like the first quest, instead of going to the EDZ, we go to Europa and find some ingredients and a recipe for these new Eliksni treats. After that, we return to Saint. Wonderful, cries Saint as you place the ingredients before him and set down Eva's holiday oven. Now we become bakers. The process is unexpectedly dangerous. While he measures ingredients carefully, Saint has little regard for cooking time, believing that hotter flames will simply bake more quickly. The hangar fills with so much smoke that Amanda Holiday rushes over with a fire extinguisher. At one point, Saint is forced to use Ward of Dawn to protect you both from the rapidly rising Kelsdo. His desperate cries of "more sugar" will echo in your mind for weeks to come. Finally, it is done, and the delicately spiced, carefully molded nuggets of frosted ether have been gently wrapped in spirals of flaky dough and baked to golden perfection. A quick dip in an ether glaze and the swaddled ether dips are ready for delivery. We are champions of the dawning this day, my friend, Saint says with deep satisfaction. Now quickly, go hand them out while they're still warm. It is then here in the quest where we travel to the Eliksni quarters and hand out all of these ether dips to our friendly alien allies. Saint listens eagerly to your story of delivering the ether dips. He is especially pleased to hear that the young Eliksni enjoyed the treats most of all. "This is good news," he says with a contented sigh. "I know these Eliksni have seen me as a monster in the past. I hope this will show them I have moved away from that. It is not too late to show them who we are. Mithrax taught me that, and it was not too late for me to learn." The big titan is quiet for a moment as he listens to the pigeons gently cooing at his feet. "This dawning has helped my heart, Guardian. There is not peace within me, but there is a small warmth, something I feared I might not feel again. For this, I thank you." And wrapping up the quest, we then go back to Eva. You tell Eva about Saint and the Eliksni. "I told you he was kind, didn't I?" she asks. "Though I'm sure you weren't surprised, anyone who knows him can see it." She pauses to watch an Eliksni hatchling run past on its way to the hangar. A caregiver follows behind, a cloth belt of infants bound tightly across their chest. The caregiver notices Eva and raises a tentative claw in greeting. Eva waves back warmly, then breaks into a grin as a half-dozen tiny hands reach from the swaddling to return the wave. The Eliksni chirps with laughter and runs off after the hatchling. "You know, Guardian," Eva says happily, "I think this may be the best dawning yet." So anyway, Guardians, there you have it, some heartwarming tales from this year's dawning. Now me personally, I just took screenshots of this quest as I just grinded through it and didn't really read the story, but once I did, I'm like, that'd be a cool video to make, and I hope you enjoyed this if you skipped over it as well. I also hope you have a happy holidays and Merry Christmas, and I thank you very much for watching. Anyway, my name's Eve, and I'll catch you Guardians in the next one.